All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we have some serious news to talk about that has sent America into a bit of a tailspin. It seems like the state of politics has done a bit of a 180 more than it already was. You see, one of the things that people have remained somewhat steadfast in supporting Trump on, despite his dropping approval ratings in every category, has been his mass deportation policy and his empowerment of the Department of Homeland Security and ICE to do mass deportations. People are big on the mass deportations. It's the one thing they feel like Trump is actually doing right. Problem is that across the country, neighborhoods are being invaded by ICE. And when these invasions happen, it disrupts the entire community, puts it in direct danger, and people come out of it feeling very different on the issue, because when you vote for a guy who says he's going to deport all of the illegals, you don't expect that to end in situations like American citizens getting shot in the face in their cars while getting stopped by an ICE agent for no reason, because as we would later figure out, they were born here and are a citizen. And on top of that, as much as I don't want to make it a race thing, for these people it's a race thing. For the Nazis and white supremacists who join ICE, it's a race thing. This lady is a white lady. You know, like, even with racial profiling being taken account for, this was not a situation where these ICE agents could have possibly considered her likely to be an illegal immigrant worth investigating. So just the fact they were stopping her in the first place was absurd in most people's view, and the fact that it all ended with her being murdered by the ICE agent on video resulted in a massive divisive response from the internet. Most people landing on the side that this woman did not deserve to be killed, in much the same way that a lot of people were swayed to some level of sympathy for Charlie Kirk due to the fact that he had a family, he had a wife, he had kids. This woman also had a family and kids. You know, it's when you try to make that the basis on which no matter what someone believes, if they die and they had a family, then you have to feel bad about it. You don't get to take that back the second some progressive gets murdered by federal agents that back your ideology. If you actually believe that, you gotta follow through. Didn't she have a wife? Yes, she did. She was gay, I believe. And so this woman, Renee Good, was shot by this ICE officer, I believe in the face. Like, it was very much a shot to kill. And everybody has been giving their takes on this. Notably, you've got even gaming creators, like people who are not known for giving their takes on politics have been going hard on this. You've got Connor Eats Pants, notably, who has been going nuts on Twitter the last few days over this. The CIA replaced Asmongold with an even stupider virgin during the Johnny Depp trial. Very true statement in reference to, Asmongold's defense of this. Our World Cup team better be woke as fuck. Pronouns we've never heard of. Every hormone. Gender on a 3D axis. Here, let me see if I can find his replies to Asmongold specifically, because they're pretty heat. Update: Connor Eats Pants' biggest fan Asmongold gets his feelings hurt over JD Vance crack baby joke. Hold on, let's see if we can get the full context. Bro has been cooking. What the fuck? Oh my god. Hold on, let's... I think it started with Asmongold raging about Connor calling JD Vance a crack baby. That's what he did, by the way. Asmongold is such a little fucking bitch. Can we be honest? Can we just be real about that? He has turned into such a little baby bitch snowflake cuck since he got conservative during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I was there. I was watching his content through all of it. He became unwatchable during that arc. That's when it started for me. And he has become such a simpering snowflake cuck. He used to take pride in the fact that he was like a toxic asshole who liked to go into the lion's den and like get down and dirty with all the degenerates. But now he absolutely owns the fact, publicly and proudly, that he's a pussy. He's too afraid to get down and dirty and argue these issues. But he's very happy to sit on his platform and with no challenge whatsoever express these takes. And so here he is having a meltdown over a joke at the expense of his little loser cult.
Yet. It's crazy. And then the only thing that they have left to do is people like Connor. Mom should have stuffed you with crack out of the womb and see what happens for science. Maybe you'd end up with a functioning brain. Just vitriolic, emotional, brain dead attacks with no degree of substance, thought at all to them.
5 minutes before, he was saying, I hope the ICE agents shoot more of you people, in reference to progressives and leftists and people who are anti-deportation. So he goes seamlessly from this killing was good and I hope they kill more of you too, and all these people can do is whine and get vitriolic and be toxic about the right.
These people are the absolute manifestation of just unhinged, childish outbursts. That's what they...
We know what you're doing, Asmon. Like, I hope you know that not even for a second is anyone outside of your circle on the right believing that you sincerely think this. We know you're full of shit. We know you're playing a character that you know is like the worst person imaginable to engage in politics and commentary. Like, Asmongold has been in this long enough that he has actively constructed a persona that is the worst person imaginable to be engaging with politics and leans into it hard. Yes, he's become the right-wing Hassan.
They are. Nothing else besides that. What a weirdo. Why would you even say this to somebody? What a fucking freak.
Hassan has become such a massive cuck. Imagine getting triggered at this joke. Asmongold of like 2019 would have never gotten triggered at this. The worst he would have done was call it cringe and move on. The fact that he spent a minute on this complaining about a joke, he has become such a fucking cuck, bro. Oh my god. How cucked can you be? The boot is all the way down their throat. Now let's be very clear. There's no trying to mix the situation up or poison the well or muddy the water. Everyone's seen the video. It's gone giga viral. People have come to their conclusions already. People like Asmongold will make excuses for this no matter what. But the majority of Americans do not want themselves be the next American citizen who gets shot in the face in their car by an ICE agent. Because at this point, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, they'll shoot you. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, or brown, they'll shoot you. It doesn't matter if after they search your body and search your wallet off your corpse, they find out that you were born here, and your mom was born here, your dad was born here, your grandparents were born here, and their grandparents were born here. It won't matter. They'll have still killed you, and then the Department of Homeland Security and the president, vice president, will go out publicly to call you a domestic terrorist, because if you're not a domestic terrorist, then their agent is a murderer. And you can guess which path they're going to choose to enforce as the truth. And that's the phase that we're in right now. Because they can't own up and accept that one of their agents is now a murderer, it means the murder victim has to be a domestic terrorist. It can only be one of those two scenarios. And so the government's position is that this woman not only deserved to be shot, but that she was an imminent danger to the community and needed to be killed. You won't be buried with your family if you're a terrorist. I imagine their goal is also to have her body handled in the same way they do terrorists. Yeah, like, they are truly evil people. And then when you get outraged about their evil, much like Asmongold, they will accuse you of having no arguments. And then when you say, okay, let's debate, let's actually argue about it then they will say, well, no, I don't debate lefties.
And now that new video, as I said, it is so crucial because it was filmed by the ICE agent involved, but also because in that...
This is in reference to a new video we got yesterday, the POV video of the ICE agent's view, and it does not make his case any better.
It is providing an angle we have not seen before. And it does give a whole new perspective. It also, though, raises new questions. Kyung La is going to go through this slowly, bit by bit, out front with this special investigation to look at every piece of video, that one and all the others, to say, what is the story here? And of course, I warn you, when you put all of these together, you will have to see what happened again and again.
Out of the car.
For the first
I hope that this video doesn't show it. It's CNN, so I assume they're not gonna.
time,
Warning, graphic content? CNN, you're not gonna fuck me here, are you? You're not gonna actually show it, right, CNN? You're gonna be chill? CNN is gonna be chill, right? Let's see.
We are seeing the fatal Minneapolis shooting from the ICE officer's point of view, footage taken on his own cell phone. It's a critical angle of many cameras on the street that captured Renee Good's fatal encounter with ICE agent Jonathan Ross. Using surveillance footage, bystander video, and Ross's own phone, CNN synced multiple perspectives of the shooting and mapped this incident in 3D space. Taken together, they show the fullest picture yet of what happened that day.
Man, grabbing onto a car, like, let's say she is speeding off from the scene. Why would you grab onto the car? It's off screen. Yeah, the shooting does happen off screen in the POV video, but I worry that, like, we're gonna see the other angle where you can see a lot of it go down uncensored, and I don't know how YouTube's gonna react to that. The, like, far to the side and to the left angle that everyone's seen.
Surveillance camera captures the moment Renee Good pulls up in a maroon-colored Honda SUV, 4 minutes before the shooting. 20 seconds after she arrives, her passenger and wife, Becca, wearing a white beanie, gets out of Good's car. Good then parks the SUV perpendicular in the road. Here's how Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem described what Good did.
ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding.
Yeah, like, firing a shot in a residential neighborhood at all as law enforcement when it's not necessary is very stupid, especially when your target is in a moving vehicle. That is a good point. I cannot imagine a harder to hit top. There is one target I can imagine harder to hit than a guy in a car. A guy in a plane. I think a guy in a plane might be harder to hit than, without, like, stray bullets going everywhere, than a guy in a car. But a guy in a car, like, if you shoot at a guy in a car, you're basically begging for a stray shot to go into a house. So, already the ICE agent, let's assume, had every reason to shoot. And really, he really didn't. But let's assume, let's imagine a scenario where he did. In a residential neighborhood at a moving vehicle? I don't know, especially with her being perpendicular to the road, so that the backstop, if, like, she's his target, but the backstop of his target is a row of houses. A row of residential homes was his backstop. One of the core rules of firearm safety, and I've taught many friends how to shoot for the first time. One of the core rules that you ingrain in any new shooter is you always need to know what is between you and your target and what is beyond your target before you fire. And this includes when you're at the range. You know, like, that matters for a reason. That is a rule of gun safety for a reason. Bullets don't turn to dust once they pass your target and miss. So already that ICE agent was putting a lot of lives at jeopardy with his behavior. Not just the life he took.
Their work all throughout the day.
Available video doesn't show any possible contact Good may have had with ICE before this confrontation. What this video does show is that for a few minutes, while she is perpendicular to the roadway, several vehicles drive by. Even large SUVs are able to drive around her as she moves back and forth on the street. And that includes this light-colored SUV. It slowly drives around Good's car from the rear and stops. Agent Jonathan Ross is recording video from his cell phone as he crosses in front of Good's car, recording as he sees her up close. She looks calm, and you can see both of her hands as she talks to the officer.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
She's doing everything that, like, you do when you're trying not to get murdered by the cops, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, one hand on the steering wheel,
and you can see both of her hands,
and one hand casually hanging out of the window. It's like, all right. I'm not giving them the opportunity to try and claim, stop reaching, stop reaching, stop reaching! You know, like, you really make sure your hands are clear and in the view of the camera. Like, I would, it just seems surprising that she would try to, like, resist questioning or being stopped when she's complying so hard, all, like, right off the bat, you know? Like, I can't speak from any kind of data on this, but I've watched a lot of police body cam videos, and when there is resistance to arrest, it always starts confrontational. Like, always. It's always like someone screaming, someone drunk, someone insulting the cop, and then the cop starts restraining them, and they fight. And it's like, well, yeah, that's about what I expected them to do. This does not come off as like a situation that is likely to devolve into resisting arrest or something. If it was like a cop encounter, right? Like if this was a police body cam video, I would be shocked that this ended in a shooting. Because the violent criminals, the violent suspects, the ones who cause a problem, do not typically start the encounter with a smile, their hands like in view of the officer, and like a friendly demeanor. That doesn't happen in any of those body cam videos that I've seen.
As she talks to the officer.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad, boy.
Renee Good's
Those
wife,
were her
Becca,
last
who had been the
words.
passenger in the car, approaches. Cell phone cameras on the street start recording as Ross walks around Good's car with Good's wife following.
I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Renee Good back.
The wife is being rude, but I mean, that being rude to an ICE agent should not be cause to have your family member murdered in front of you.
Her car up
Hot
as the
take.
agent walks around the front of the vehicle. At the same time, on the other side, 2 more agents approach. One tries to open the door as Good backs up. Good's vehicle starts moving. From Ross's cell phone video, you see Becca, the woman in the white beanie, trying to get into the car again. You also see Renee Good turning the steering wheel to the right.
Get out of the car.
She then accelerates. Slowing this down again and matching the exact time of these 2 angles. This angle appears to show the vehicle moving close to the agent. But in this angle, he does not appear to be in the path of the vehicle when he fired.
You can say that he was in danger of getting run over for a second there. Maybe his leg, like maybe his foot, was in danger of getting run over if he didn't move it out of the way. But what you can't argue is whether or not he fired off a few shots into that car as it drove away. There is a very, very clear distinction when it comes to your right as an American to wield a firearm in a lethal way to defend yourself or to enforce the law. Now, when it comes to law enforcement, correct me if I'm wrong, under certain circumstances, someone running can justify lethal force. But I think that's a pretty hard sell. Like, there's going to be investigations, and if it's not found that there was a very good reason for it, it's going to be found to be an unlawful killing. And I know for a fact that as a private citizen, using a firearm and shooting someone who is fleeing you, you will never get away with it. You will rot in prison for quite some time, even if initially the person was trying to kill you, and then you shot them as they ran away because they saw you had a gun and they started running, and then you bang, bang, bang as they ran. You are going to prison for murder because you committed murder. And you should go to prison for committing murder if you blast a guy in like 4 times in the back as he runs away from you once he sees you have a gun after attacking you. Like, you are only allowed to use a firearm lethally against against anyone in America as long as they are an imminent, active threat against you. The second they stop being a threat against you and you start firing shots into their backside, you can't argue in any court, realistically, that you were in fear for your life or that you acted to protect yourself or others. You cannot argue this. There's no scenario in which any gun owner could see this video and say, oh yeah, this guy definitely acted to defend himself and others. Yeah, for sure. No, that is not what he did. This is murder. Shooting someone as they flee is murder.
Oh my God! What the
Seconds later, Becca Good runs to her wife, followed by the agent who fired his weapon. He briefly looks into the driver's side of the car and then walks away.
Shame! Shame!
Now, what we cannot see in Ross's cell phone video is if the SUV made contact with the agent because the camera angle jerks up to the sky. But DHS still says it supports the agency's initial position, releasing this statement saying, quote, the footage corroborates what DHS has stated all along, that this individual was impeding law enforcement and weaponized her vehicle in an attempt to kill or cause bodily harm to federal law enforcement. The officer was in fear of his own life, the lives of his fellow officers, and acted in self-defense. The American people can watch this video with their own eyes and ears and judge for themselves. The shooting itself, Aaron, is also not visible. You do, though, hear three guns.
Did you see the FBI got all of his and his wife's belongings out of their house and got them out of the state? Yeah, the FBI is helping them go on the run, the federal agent who did this. Trust me, he will not see a day in court. He will not see any legal consequences. The federal government has now swooped in to save him from any potential state charges. Remember, the president's personal SS squad gets to be above the law. And so this guy is not going to see any consequences until the next administration is in power. Though I do want to say, on an unrelated note, I just want to remind you guys, okay? I need to remind you all, okay? It's very important that you remember.
But they would do the exact
It's very important, all right? Y'all like Hassan, right? Y'all like Hassan. Hassan has very important commentary to give on this situation of America right now.
But they would do the exact same thing. Democrats, if they were in charge right now, would be doing 100% the exact same thing. 1-to-1. Make no fucking mistake. Anyone who tries to tell you that Kamala Harris will be different is a fucking delusional moron. Do not listen to them. Why? Kamala Harris's own campaign aides have actually come out and talked about how they would be doing a better job defending Israel right.
He's still defending this take on Twitter today, by the way. In case anyone wants to go, Zan, you're big bad faith. He's on Twitter right now defending this take. Like, go open his Twitter and search at his most recent tweets. He's on Twitter arguing with people defending that clip right now. It's amazing. Anyway, back to America's fascist downfall.
Gunshots. Aaron.
All right, Kyung La, thank you very much. That is incredible work. Just to see all that put together. Everyone's here with me. Joey, does that change anything? Obviously, this new video is a new perspective, but then just as Kyung has reconstructed frame by frame those crucial instances from all the perspectives we now have.
I think it's problematic for the officers with respect to justifying the force, and I'll explain why. The first thing is, let's talk about the policy. I do have the Department of Justice policy, which talks about the preservation of life, but it also talks about the obligation to get out of the path of the vehicle, right? Not to stand and shoot. It talks about getting out of the path of the vehicle, and it also talks about de-escalation. Why is that significant? I don't see much de-escalation there. That's important. I hear words to the effect of effing bitch. That goes to me to state of mind. So if you're not
of the officer,
he's saying that. Right. I mean, so it's one thing to defend yourself. It's another thing to be angry and use animus with regard to employing force. The other thing that's troubling to me is that if you're not standing in front of the vehicle, but if it seems to be, I'm not saying it.
He shot her the same way that, like, you would in an FPS when, you've almost won a fight and the other player starts running from you. Like, he was very much not acting in self-defense when he fired most of those shots. The first one, maybe you could argue, was like, he was in the way. I think he would have been better off spending his time getting out of the way of the car and not lining up a gunshot, but, you know, to each their own, I suppose. It's his foot to be or not to be crushed by the vehicle. But the shots he fired from the side as she drove away, was a lot literally not defensible in the slightest. Like, not even on a legal level, not on a Second Amendment level, not on a common sense level, not on a moral level, not on a logical level. There's just no universe in which you can argue that someone was in their right to take a life of someone that was fleeing them. That's not how law enforcement works, and it's certainly not how your right to wield a firearm for defensive life works either.
It's what the video shows. You're off to the side of the vehicle, then how is it representing an imminent threat to death or physical injury? The other issue is you have to justify every projectile. If you're shooting a projectile and the car's not coming at you, what's the basis? And if you're shooting into the window when the vehicle's going away from you, that's further problematic as well. So it goes against the notion of immediate fear of death or serious injury. It goes against the notion of the proportionality of the force. And finally, Aaron, it goes against the issue of it being reasonable. So as I see this, it's a...
Well, and when the backstop of his target, I hate to call her his target, but his backstop was houses, residential houses, okay? Like, every missed shot would have lodged itself into the stucco of a house. Hopefully it lodged itself in the stucco.
Problem to me for the officer, even though the White House says there's nothing to see here, there is plenty to see from my perspective.
So much to see. I mean, John, because also one thing you see her do, well, there's a couple things that would show. First of all, her wife, Renee's wife, moves to get in the car, which would indicate they're leaving, which they were told to do, right? She moves to get into the car at that moment, stop filming. Okay, number one. Number two, then you see her on the officer, turn her wheel sharply away from him, and then the acceleration. Now, I know every single
Well, you don't understand. The ICE agent thought she was using inverted controls.
instant is going to matter in terms of what really happened, but there's no mistaking what she's doing with the wheel.
Only if you're looking at it. And we don't know whether in his tunnel vision he was focused on her or the front of that vehicle or its direction.
To be fair, in his tunnel vision, he was probably not looking at the steering wheel or where the wheels were pointed because he was aiming down the sights of his gun. And I can confirm for you, there's very little you can see when you're aiming down the sights of your gun besides what you're aiming at. If you're aiming well, that is. But why was he focused on the sights of his gun is the question. Like, why was that his focus in that moment?
But what we do know is the value of this video is it's another angle.
Yep.
We came to conclusions which are now questioned when we looked at the first video because we got a second video. This would be a third video, which is instructive in a different way. What do we get out of this? We get three things. One, we get that it's not a high-tension situation. She's smiling and saying, I'm not mad. And her friend is taunting them, but saying, here's our license plate. We're not wearing
Right,
masks.
we don't change our...
Taunting them, but...
Imagine if instead...
Situation,
so you got a guy right, on the other side of this dude.
Saying, I'm not mad.
And you're going to be able to see him. So he's following the front of the car as it turns. It's backing up and turning. Because, if you've driven before, you know that, when you're stuck in the middle of the road, you need to back up a little bit, make some room. Whether she was going to run over an ICE officer or escape the situation, she needed to back up there. I don't think there's any argument over that. So she backs up a little, and you can see the wheel is pointed towards the ICE agent right now that you can't see because he's obscured by his friend.
Her friend is taunting.
And you can see this agent starts to reach into the car at her. And I have no clue why this is happening, because he's wrenching open the handle of the car, and now he's reaching in, seemingly either to grab at her or unlock the car door and pull her out for no reason.
Them.
And so she starts turning the wheel. You can see the wheels turning, and she's driving away. And this ICE agent, mind you, the car's turned 20 degrees, and he's stayed in front of the car. He's had his hand on the fucking hood, staying in front of the car so he can have that front view of the lady. And then as she starts to pull away, he's pulling out his gun already. You can see he's already unholstered his gun. He's already getting ready to kill her. The second she started to move that car, he went for his gun and got ready to kill her.
But saying, here's
and
our
so
license.
He's now aiming. Whatever she does at this point, he's unloading rounds into her. It doesn't matter. She could put her hands up and stop the car right here. He's about to fire, and nothing is stopping that.
License plate, we're not wearing.
Right, we don't change our license plate.
He fires the first shot when he's already to the side of the car. Holy fuck. His legs are so clear of that car, it's not even debatable. That's the first shot that you just saw. Let's rewind that a frame.
Them, but saying, here's our license plate.
Here's his legs.
We're not wearing
hate YouTube so much.
We don't change.
Okay. And that's the first shot being fired right then. That is mid-frame of the first shot being fired. You can see the smoke from the muzzle. You can see his left foot and his right foot. And you can see that he is shooting through. He literally can only be shooting through the side. You know what this reminds... I know this is such a soy thing to compare it to, but this reminds me of that scene with the dumpster in Season 6 of The Walking Dead. Everybody who knows. Where everybody was like, but angles, guys, but angles. You have to understand, the angles make all the difference. You see something from an angle, and it can change the entire perspective. And it was like, I don't know, maybe. If you don't know, you don't know. Don't even bother. If you don't know, you don't know. But it reminds me a bit of that, because, like, it's very clear that from this angle, it seems undeniable to me that he is out of the way of that car.
Our license plate. By the way, awareness of if you want to come and get us later, go ahead.
Right.
You have the license number.
So, I mean, tensions at that point are low. As he comes around the car, the officers who pull up in the pickup truck are saying, out of the...
Anyone defending this at this point is just openly trying to express that they are pro-murdering left-leaning people. And they've just found an issue that they can pretend is not black and white so that they can have what I guess has been decided to be a reasonable disagreement on whether or not cold-blooded murder of progressive people by federal agents is okay. And we always knew this is what they stood for and what they wanted, what they were fighting for, what they dreamed of once Trump got elected. But to see it happening, and to see them not only defend it, but like try to gaslight America into saying that's not what's happening, it's like, just at least own being the fascists now, right? Like, can we stop this game of you pretending the left are insane for knowing your plan? Like, you guys won. You got your position in office. You've got your federal agents slaughtering people in the street. Like, y'all did it. You got what you wanted. Can y'all just admit that this is what you wanted? That this was the plan? Like, stop pretending. Stop gaslighting and trying to troll like this wasn't always your plan. And I say this to the Chuds, the Chud community. Stop pretending. Come on, like, I'm genuinely not even offended by the fact that you defended this, okay? What I'm offended by is that y'all are too cucked to own it. Don't be snowflake little pussy-ass bitch cucks. Just own it. Own that you're fascists. Own that this is what you've always fought for. Own that this is what you've always wanted. I respect Nick Fuentes for just coming out and saying what a narcissistic little, slimy little bastard gay boy he is, more than I do any of these little, like, right-wing gamer bro chuds that pretend like they're centrist, but meanwhile, every time a federal agent murders someone, they're gonna be out here defending it. I have so much more respect for someone like Nick Fuentes, because at least Nick Fuentes is openly a joke. At least he's openly a joke. Everyone makes fun of him. Everyone calls him gay. Everybody dunks on him for being a Nazi. He actively divides the right just by being popular, because you've got the Zionists on one side and you got the Nazis on the other side. So it's a massive schism that starts with Nick Fuentes. He's so overt about how awful he is, he actively hurts the right. Please don't use the term narcissistic. People with narcissistic personality disorder are better than this. Anyone who starts their comment, please don't use blank, immediately gets disregarded in my chat. I'm just letting you know. We left that in 2020. The whole, please don't use the... Yeah, we left that in 20... I assume you're memeing, but if you're not memeing, I'm just letting you know. We left that in 2019, in 2020. We don't... We say retard here, and we offend people, okay? As a matter of fact, this actually ties into a topic I plan to get into next segment. So if you guys are excited to hear about the rise of dark woke and how leftism, at least leftism if we're going to win, and I see it actively happening. It's not even me calling for like, the left needs to do this to win. It's happening, and I think it's going to lead to the left winning. And that is the birth of dark woke. The birth of dark woke, true dark woke, has begun. I hope y'all are ready for that. It's gonna be something exciting. Anyway, folks, if y'all enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way, leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, ring the bell icon, follow my social medias linked down below, especially my fan Discord. Make sure to join it. I'll be back to bring you guys much more content very soon, so I hope y'all stay looking at the channel, follow my stuff, join the Discord. Thank you for watching, as always. I'll see you again in the next one.